What's up? Inflatable enthusiast here, and today is my official 2022 Halloween inflatable display. Is finally 100% complete, and yeah, I think it came out awesome. I've been working on this for the past 2 months almost. I started like mid-September, around the 15th or so, and it's finally complete. So I'm super excited to show every inflatable to you guys in detail, go over everything. So yeah, I'm gonna start at my grandparents' house, so we'll head right over there right now. All right, so here's my grandparents' house. Like I said in my 2001 ghost video, I wanted to go with like a vintage kind of like a classic style with my grandparents' house. That's typically what I try to do for the holidays. I put like all of the older decorations at my grandparents' house because they have a much older house than I do. You probably wouldn't be able to tell, but this house was built in like mid to late 1800s, and my grandma has a bunch of older Halloween and Christmas decorations that she lets me use around the holidays. So but yeah, so as you can see, I got the 2001 Ghost over there, one of the oldest Gemmy Halloween inflatables. Came out the first year they ever started making them. So then you got a blow mold Ghost back there, the Pac-Man runaway ghost scene. This is my second one I got. My first one is completely thin. This one is actually a little thin too. It doesn't inflate super tight, but it should last me a few years. There's the witch leg kicking pumpkin. One of the legs actually stopped working the other day. I don't know why, but the way it works is there's two cheap fans connected, one in each leg, and they inflate the knees, and that's what moves the leg up. And one of the legs, the fan in the back leg is not working for some reason. I don't know why, but I'll fix it after the season, but for now it just doesn't work. So I'm actually just gonna cross the street here without getting run over so I can get a little closer to everything. Then over here is my first ever Gemmy inflatable. This is the 5-foot pumpkin stack from, I believe, 2010. I know it's been re-released a few times. I think it has. But this is the 2010 version. Still in pretty good shape. It's a little sun faded, but inflates, normal. It hasn't thinned out at all. I've never actually used this outside. Every year I used it, it was either on the porch or it was in the house. So this is the first year it's really being used out in the lawn. I had to replace the lights in it. I just rehung a new light string, and I have the cord coming out of the zipper, and it's just plugged into the outlet right there. But it looks good. It lights up great at night, so I'm never getting rid of this. Even if it does thin out somehow, I'm never gonna get rid of it because it was my first Gemmy inflatable ever. I got my little cheap fan Rudolph the same year as this one, but I believe we got this one before that because, Halloween comes before Christmas. So I believe my mom bought this before then. So that's why I believe this is the first one I have. But I love the design. I know there's a slightly bigger, like 9-foot version that I might get just to, upgrade basically from this one. But I just put this one out this year. So, but it looks great. It's worked great. It's held up amazing. So. Then over here, I got a skeleton pushing a lawnmower. I really wanted to use a ride-on lawnmower, but there wasn't one easily accessible for me. So I just dug out this old one from my aunt's house that no one used anymore. You can see it's a Guardian. But yeah, he's got a Mac Tools hat on, Sam Adams beer. And yeah, a lot of the neighbors have liked this one. They think it's really funny, so. Then going over the driveway here, I got a Ghost on a line. This guy has been a pretty big pain in the ass throughout the season. He doesn't like to work every time. He's been stuck pretty much in this same spot for the past like week or so. Like the batteries literally died in him within days. So I'm not very happy with this one, but it's cool. Whenever my grandma would drive into the driveway, he would go flying across the line, but he hasn't done that in a while. But it still looks pretty cool. From a distance, you can't see the line, so it does make him look like he's flying. But and then I used this guy last year in my display, but this year I got a whole sign to go with it. I got the Bigfoot skeleton right here. I don't know if you guys have seen in my yard, but I got a big wooden Bigfoot cutout. It's just kind of a funny thing. A lot of people, you know, in the part of the country that I live in, I've seen a lot of people have like Bigfoot cutouts, and it's kind of like a funny joke in my family and stuff like that. So they had like a gorilla skeleton at Target last year, and you know, I was like, that's the closest thing to a Sasquatch, so I got it, and I think it looks kind of funny. It's kind of goofy. Again, the neighbors have thought that this was pretty funny, so yeah. And then got these little plastic things in the windows. My grandma got these like 20 years ago at like a store near here that's doesn't even exist anymore, but they look pretty cool. Then I got a graveyard. Typically I'd put these headstones in the garden along my driveway, but no one sees them there because my driveway is so long and far away from the road. So I put them here, and I got like an old animatronic rising zombie that stopped working like a decade ago. But I have him staked into the ground, and he looks pretty good. Some vintage ghost thing. I don't know what it is. It's made out of like sheet metal, it feels like. But it had stakes in it, so I put it in the ground. Looks pretty cool. Little skeleton leg sticking out there. I did this last year, but with a bush near my house. I got the man-eating tree. Put googly eyes on it, made him eating some bones and stuff. Another thing that a lot of people have liked, and they thought it was funny, so. These little old rocks right there say beware on them. And there's a skull right there. Another headstone. Half of a skeleton, leg, and arm. And then, you know, here's the Pac-Man again. I put rocks in the bottom of the ghosts like I did last year, but this year I put plastic bags over them so they wouldn't scratch up the bottoms. And it works great. They haven't fallen over. They've inflated like this every day. So, but like I said, this thing is thinning. You can see, not the tightest inflation by any means. But the ghosts still inflate all the way. But they don't inflate tight, but they inflate all the way, and it's held up great. I had to re-stitch the banner in a few parts, and I actually stitched it to this ghost. It wasn't actually made like that. They just stitched it to Pac-Man and then these two, but I put extra stitching on that one just to hold it out even more so you can read it better, and it looks great. None of the stitching has come undone. Pac-Man looks great too. He inflates tight, but this side of him is almost, it has a bunch of thin cracks all over it. But you know, it's only, hopefully it'll last me a few years. Hopefully I can get another one, because this is one design that I want to keep buying every time it wears out, because I love this design. It was a childhood classic for me, so yeah, I love it. But and then we have this blow mold ghost. I have no idea where this came from, but it was my grandparents. They got it a couple decades ago. I think it's from like the 60s or the 80s, around that time. It's definitely old. It's not rare or anything, but the way I have it secured is I got a broomstick and I cut it slanted like that so it would be sharp at the end, and I just hammered it in the ground. And the way I positioned him, it actually makes him look like he's floating a little bit, which is cool. But he hasn't blown anywhere. The light in him still works great at night, so you'll see that later. And then the 2001 Ghost. This thing's held up great this year. Inflates super tight. Such an old design, such a classic looking design. I love it a lot. And I think it definitely fits with, like, you know, the classic style I went with my grandparents' yard. So I have a few classics in my yard, but I mainly wanted to use them over here because I thought it would look really good. But yeah, I love this one. And now getting into my yard, I'm actually going to end the video right here so I can just cut it so it'll be easier. But yeah, now getting into my yard, pretty much connecting the two displays. We have the Snoopy on a pumpkin. This is a 2020 version. The LED is actually completely burnt out in this one, but my grandfather found LEDs on eBay, and we took out the old ones, took off the cap, we soldered the new wire on, and now he lights up. He's like the brightest cheap fan in my display now, so he looks pretty good. But yeah, I have to have a Snoopy inflatable in every display. I really, really want that Great Pumpkin pumpkin patch inflatable scene that they made, like I think in 2012 or something. That inflatable is incredible. But for now, this is the only Snoopy one I have for Halloween. But, you know, I love it. It still looks good. Simplistic, but it's nice. Then over here, we got the Chucky from Lowe's this year. He had a banner that said Trick or Treat, but like I said in my review for him, I cut it off because I just hated the look of it, and it was just stupid. So he just stands here by himself, but I'm a huge fan of the Child's Play franchise. It's easily my favorite horror movie franchise, so I always watch these movies around Halloween, and I liked the design of this. It was pretty good too. And then I got the Michael Myers from Walmart this year, the 5-foot one. I also carved the pumpkin from the original movie and put it right next to him. The sun is like right on me right now, so I'm sorry that my shadow is like blocking everything, but I took one of those craft pumpkins that you can get at like, a bunch of stores have these actually, like Joann's Fabrics and a bunch of places like that, like Michael's has them as well. But yeah, and I took the face, I carved it to look like the original one, and I think it came out awesome. As you can see in there, I got a little stake going through the bottom to hold it down in the ground. It's not going anywhere. And then I got a blow mold, like C7, going in the back right there, so it lights up at night, and it looks awesome. I'm super happy with how this came out. And surprisingly, the foam has held up great. I thought it would get really soggy and ruined from like rain and stuff, but it hasn't gotten ruined at all. The inside's pretty dirty, but it still looks awesome, so. And that was like my whole plan. I also cut off the banner on this one because it was stupid. But my whole plan was to put him there and then put the pumpkin right next to him. And it looks awesome at night especially, so super glad with how that came out. Then over here we got Homer and Bart. Bart works, he's been outstanding this season. He's been working great. Homer, however, has just gotten progressively worse. If you've seen my review on him and you listened to the whole thing I explained, he basically came to me and he was really thin. So what I did was I put a YEF 200 on him, and he inflated really good in my review, but after being in the display for about a couple weeks, you can see he really doesn't inflate super tight anymore. His legs don't hold him up as well. His arms still stand. He still gets up on his own most of the time, but most days I have to come out here and fix him, unfortunately. But his head is like almost completely thin. There's cracks all over. He doesn't light up too good at night either, because I just use like crappy LED light string to light him up, because the C7s were just weighing him down too much. But you can still see him. You can still tell who he is. But, you know, like I said, Bart works amazing. You know, he still inflates super tight. He does not fall over. He works awesome. But I'm probably not going to use Homer next season because he's not in very good shape. Hopefully I can get one in time for next season, because these guys are pretty rare and usually sell for a lot. But yeah, he still looks pretty good. But anyways, I also got a little ghost hanging right here. He kind of has like a Scream ghost face mask on. He's got chains and stuff. I think I had him on my porch last year, but he's just hanging from the tree there. Then over here we got the Scooby-Doo pirate. Again, not a very good design, but you know, I wanted a Scooby-Doo inflatable for my display, so this was the easiest one I could find. There have been a few of like those 8-foot like wizard or witch ones that have sold recently, but I couldn't get them because I just didn't have the money for it. But this one's pretty good for like temporary use. If I can get one of those 8-foot ones for next year, I definitely will use that instead. But this one's still pretty nice, and it's held up great too. Then we got the customized castle like archway right here. The stuff right here kind of messed up, but I bought this from Holiday Master. He customized it with a sound box and blinking C7s, and the sound box has been on. It's the same sound box that's on the cemetery archway. It's the same sound box that's on the crime scene. And it, you know, it looks awesome at night. The sound box sounds awesome. It plays the Halloween theme from 1978, and it plays, you know, just spooky sounds too. I love this design. It looks great. You know, definitely one of my favorite ones in the display. So, and huge shout out to Holiday Master again for actually making this. And I got it for a really cheap price as well, so I like this one a lot too. But I'll actually go through it, show you the next part. You got the big spider web right here, the rope spider web. I've used this for, Jesus, almost 10 years now. My dad, I don't know where my dad got this, but yeah, I got the at-home cheap fan spider on it as like the centerpiece, and I got a bunch of these little bendable spiders all around. These two big brown ones I've had forever, like 12 years or so. You can see that one has a bunch of duct tape around them, and this one has a zip tie because like the head was splitting open. But this one down here as well, this one actually was supposed to light up, but you know, doesn't anymore. Then I got a skeleton right there, and then the Spirit Halloween jumping spider, which hasn't worked in years, but you know, he still looks cool, so I put him right there. So yeah, I love this spider web. It's awesome. It's one of like the best non-inflatable things that I have. You know, a lot of people like it too, so that's good. Then I'm gonna go back to the front again. You can see we got the new for this year, the Nightmare Before Christmas clown with the tearaway face. Another great design from Jemmy. I'm super happy they're starting to use obscure characters from that movie, because everyone knows that they absolutely milk the shit out of that license. And I'm glad that they finally gave us this character, because they just make too much Jack and too much Oogie Boogie. They need to make other minor characters from the movie, and this is definitely a step in the right direction. Even though he has a cheap fan and LEDs, it's still a great design. And you can always modify it if you really want to, but mine has worked great with what he has. He lights up great, inflates extremely tight, literally wants to explode. And you know, I love this character too, so super glad they made that. Then over here we have the new for 2022 Sam's Club Haunted House. This I made the centerpiece of my display. Everything else is around it. It's right in the center. Right in the front, and this is just such an amazing design. This is easily the greatest Halloween inflatable of this year. Up there with, like, in my opinion, the BJ's Light Show. I think that's also another amazing one, but it has its problems, you know. It doesn't inflate tightly, but it's not thin. That's just how it is. It has a YEF 200, but just the size of it and the shapes and stuff, it doesn't inflate super tight, and the roof never ever inflates all the way either. You can see it's just caved in right there. But, you know, I love it. I think it's a great design. I love the spider on it too, with the fuzzy material. Same thing on the pumpkin with the fuzzy tinsel and the short circuit lights and all that. Before I go through it and show you everything behind it, I'll go over here to the other side of the display, and we got the Lowe's Shrek, 6.5 foot actually. Shrek sold at Lowe's this year. He's got a banner that says "Trick or Treat, Smell My Feet." That's one of the only banners I kept on the inflatables in my yard, because I just think it's hilarious. And it definitely matches with Shrek's personality and his character, so I like it. They gave him a stupid witch hat, which he would never wear, but you know, it's still fine. I love Shrek. I'm a big fan of the movies. I grew up watching them as a kid, so I definitely wanted to get this one as soon as it was announced. Again, it has a cheap fan, but it inflates extremely tight, just like the clown. It wants to explode, so I just kept it like that. If it ever starts to thin, yeah, I'll modify it with a base fan, but for now it works great. And he's got 3 LEDs, so he lights up really good too. So yeah, that's that. Then over here we got the 2021 Walmart Headless Horseman. This was one of the best Halloween inflatables from last year. Everything about it is awesome. It has tinsel, fuzzy material all over it. Has a YEF 200, has animation, kaleidoscope, literally everything you could ask for in an inflatable. Such an amazing design. It's held up amazing. Still inflates extremely tight. I mean, obviously, like I've said in most of my reviews, it doesn't really get very hot where I live. I live in New England. I live in the northern states. So we typically don't have very hot summers. We have very mild summers, but we do have very cold winters and very cold falls. So yeah, but anyways, it's held up great. Not many inflatables get thin where I live, so I should be able to have this for a while, because it has a YEF 200, which is the strongest fan Jemmy makes. Just an awesome design. As you can see, the horse's head moves. He's got a kaleidoscope fire effect in his head. And the cape has like a cool velvet material on the back too. Just an awesome inflatable. I love this one. Then over here we got the 6-foot angry or scary pumpkin from, I believe, 2006. I may be wrong with that, but such a classic inflatable, such a great design. I got this last year, like pretty much mint condition. Such an amazing inflatable. I love this one. It just screams classic Jemmy. It's so detailed. It looks so cool. Every classic collector has to have this, in my opinion. I think it's awesome. Mine still inflates nice and tight for the fan it has. It's always inflated like this. All of them do this. It's not thin or anything. It just has a pretty weak fan. This actually takes like almost 5 minutes to go up, and it's only 6 feet tall, barely. But again, it just has an underpowered fan, but it works great, lights up amazing. A few of the C7s have gone out, but they put way more C7s in it than it needed, so it still lights up amazing even with a few out. So I just haven't even bothered to replace them, but I love this design a lot. So definitely a favorite of mine in the display. Then over here we got Dr. Finkelstein from last year and Sally with the Deadly Nightshade pumpkin. I had to put these two next to each other this year because they're almost perfectly in scale. Sally is a little too short, but she still looks really good next to them. And the Dr. Finkelstein last year was one of the best Nightmare Before Christmas designs we got last year. It was the first inflatable of him we got. And I know what you're thinking, like, hey, why didn't you just buy the new the new Dr. Finkelstein and the new Sally for this year that are connected and just get rid of these? But I don't like that inflatable for many reasons. One, it has random LEDs like spread out throughout the inflatable. Like, for example, Dr. Finkelstein has a purple LED in his head. You know, just why? Why did they do that? I don't know. But it looks super stupid. And then they changed the pumpkin for a skull, which I actually prefer more because he does, you know, typically have skulls in the movie because he's kind of like the Frankenstein doctor and all that. But they put a freaking short circuit light inside of it, or like a blinking LED, and it looks bad. It just looks really stupid. But Sally actually looks great on it. I do like how they did the inflatable itself, but just the lights completely ruined it. I don't know why they did that. So I didn't get it, and it's also pretty expensive too, but I think these guys look nice next to each other. So, and I love the Deadly Nightshade on the pumpkin, like I said last year. It's such a great choice. So yeah, there's that. Then over here, I believe this is a 2020 inflatable or a 2021, I don't know. It's the Oogie Boogie with lock, shock, and barrel, but this version has the bug on the pumpkin. And it's the 7-foot version, I believe. He's holding the 2 red dice. You know, like I said, Locke is holding the white pumpkin with a bug on it. That's like my favorite part about this, is the little bug, because they actually did give him that in the movie. It was in a cage in the movie and he ate it, but you know, it's cool that they put a pumpkin. So yeah, I love this design. Inflates absolutely amazing. Wants to explode, so it's a good one, and it's the only inflatable I have of lock, shock, and barrel. I do have 2 Oogie Boogies, you know, this one and then the 14-foot one right there. But I still wanted to keep this because it's in great shape, and it has lock, shock, and barrel. So next year I might sell it and get the inflatable of them in the tub instead, just so I don't have too many Oogie Boogies. But I still like this one nonetheless. Then over here, getting to one of my favorites again, the M&M on the cauldron. Such an amazing inflatable. You guys know by this point how much I love M&Ms, and I said in my review how much I love this design. Such a great design. You can see he spins back and forth. He's got different candy bars all over the cauldron. It says Snickers, Three Musketeers, Twix, Milky Way. The M&M himself, the orange M&M, was the perfect choice for this because he's always super anxious and super scared. And I like how they put a little piece of a pumpkin on his head. It definitely looks awesome. Great condition, inflates super tight, wants to explode. Just an amazing inflatable. I love this one. It's another classic inflatable. It's definitely the best Halloween M&M they've made. I wouldn't say the best M&M inflatable they've ever made. In my opinion, that's the M&M tree for Christmas. But this is definitely the best Halloween one in my opinion. And I love how he spins. It just looks great. So super happy with this one as well. It's held up really, really good this year. And then over here we got the classic 3 ghosts in the jack-o'-lantern. This one's from 2002. This is the first version they made of it. This has been re-released literally dozens of times. It's not rare by any means, but it is really old, especially this version. Like I said, this is the oldest version they made. And I love this inflatable. It inflates super good. This one came to me in amazing condition. You know, you can see the ghost hand still stands up. All of them inflate nice and tight. Just a great inflatable. I love the classic designs they gave them. Next year, I'm considering putting it in my grandparents' yard, but where it is right now, I think it looks great. All right, now moving to the final row, the back row, we have the 14-foot Colossal Pumpkin Reaper. This is from 2014. I love this inflatable. This is one of my oldest Halloween inflatables. It's just absolutely massive. It's got colossal fabric everywhere. It inflates super good. And I've had it for many, many years. I don't think I got it in 2014, but I definitely got it in either 2015 or 2016. Like I said, it wants to explode. Super great inflation. Super awesome design. They've reused this design many, many times, but this is the best version of it they've made, in my opinion, because it's the biggest. And, you know, like I said, it has colossal fabric and everything like that. So I think it's the best one they've made. But this one is pretty, as far as I know, this one is pretty rare. I've never seen one go up for sale on eBay or Mercari or anything like that. And I bet if it did, it would probably be at least $200 just because of the colossal fabric and the age and how big it is. So, but I love this one. It's another one of my favorites. Then over here, we got the new for 2022. Both of these are Colossal 14-foot Oogie Boogie. Like I said in my review for both of these, I wanted to display them right next to each other because I thought they were pretty well in scale. Yes, Jack is a little too short for Oogie, but these are both sold at the same store. These are both often advertised together, like Home Depot wanted you to buy them together. So that's what I did. And I think they look great together. Even though, like I said, Jack is a little too short, I think they still look awesome. The 14-foot Oogie is the biggest Oogie Boogie they've made. He's completely made out of colossal fabric. The dice is completely like filled with water. You can see the line. It has a bunch of water in it, but it inflates so good that you barely even notice. It barely even drags down on it. But that water's been in there for weeks, and it hasn't drained out for some reason. I'm not sure why. But, you know, he inflates incredible. Super, super tight. Actually, one of his back base fan legs broke for me. I don't know why it did this, but you can see the tether's not attached because I can't show you because the base fan's so far underneath him and how big and fat he is. But the basically the tip of the leg where like the hole is to stake it down, that completely snapped off, and I don't know why, but I'm pretty disappointed. That's like the first time that's ever happened to me. For my carousel inflatable for Christmas, it had the non-foldable base fan legs, and that's like a lot flimsier plastic, so it did actually make a little crack in it in the back one when I tried to pull out the stake on the base fan leg. But other than that, I've never had a base fan leg like break or anything like that in my display. But I have bought, like, for example, my 8-foot 2003 Homer, the Christmas one. He does have a broken leg, but that wasn't, you know, from me, so I don't know. But anyways, and then there's the Jack. You know, the animation looks great. I love it. You know, I already have an 18-foot Jack, so there's really no need to have this. So I might get rid of it after the season, but inflates super tight. The animation looks really good. And I think these two look great, you know, right next to each other. So, yeah, definitely a big fan of this one. All right, and then now over here, we got the 12-foot Frankenstein. I just made a video on this guy like 2 days ago or so. Another really good design. Like I said in my review, doesn't inflate the tightest, but I believe that's just how they're all made because I could not find any thin spots on this guy anywhere. I couldn't find any holes either. Actually, one thing I didn't point out in the review for it is there is a tiny little hole that was right here. It was about like this wide. As you can see, I just stitched it up a little bit, but it wasn't a big deal. But other than that, you know, it doesn't inflate super tight, but I love the design. I love the super creepy, like, monster face that they put on him. It looks awesome. It's just such a classic inflatable. It's from 2010, so it's 12 years old now. And I like it. Like I said in the review, I might sell it after the season because it was kind of just used as a space filler, but, you know, I still like it, though. It's not because I don't like it. It's just because it doesn't inflate super tight, and I don't really want to, you know, actually, I might not sell it because, as you can see, once it's staked down, it doesn't really move around a whole lot, so it's still sturdy. He still gets up on his own, but I don't know. I like it, though. I definitely like this inflatable. And, you know, I had to fill in this gap right here because before, you can see how big of a gap there was between Oogie and the Jack, so it looked pretty bad. As you can see, every inflatable in the lawn has its own spot, but this giant gap right here was really annoying me, so I got him and put him there, and I think he looks great now, so happy with it. Then we have the 18-foot Jack. I got this last year at Lowe's, or it was also sold last year at Lowe's. In my opinion, this is much superior to the one that came out this year, the Dracula Jack. I'll give you 3 reasons why. 1, Jack never wears a vampire suit in that movie. I don't know why they ever make him wearing a vampire suit, but they do all the time. 2, he doesn't have a banner, and I actually really love the banner on this one, Welcome to Halloween Town. I put this in the center back of my display, so when you walk right through the haunted house, this is the first thing you see, and it says, Welcome to Halloween Town, and I think it looks really good. It did come unstitched from this hand, but I just re-sewed it, hand-sewed it. Next year, I'm going to go on it with a sewing machine just to make sure it's extra strong, but just for the end of the season, I just hand-sewed it, so I wouldn't have to do that for now. And then the third reason is they made literally every single version of him, they made every single inflatable without a nose. So every one that you get of the Dracula Jack this year, the 18-foot one, he has no nose. He's missing a nose. It's just completely white right there, which is an awful mistake by Jemmy, and I don't know how that could even happen, but it did, so, but yeah, I love this inflatable. Colossal fabric, inflates super tight, 18 feet tall. Just a great design. Definitely one of, if not the best, Jack inflatables they've made. So, then next to it over here, we got the 20-foot cat. Like I said, his tail never wants to stand up. I actually did fix it right before I started filming, but it fell back down again because it's kind of a piece of crap. And, but yeah, I love this design. It is a little thin, actually, because the reason I know that is because when it rains, it inflates much tighter than it does on a normal day like today. But, you know, it's still a great design. It's technically the biggest inflatable I have. Apologize about that car. It's technically the biggest Halloween inflatable I have, but the tail never stands up. So when it does, though, it is taller than Jack, which is cool. But still a great design, and I definitely like it. And I got it for, like I said in my review, I got it for $68, which is dirt cheap and is an absolute steal. So I could not pass up on this. But yeah, great design. And finally, the last one we have here is the new for 2022 BJ's Light Show. This is, in my opinion, one of the best inflatables we've gotten this year for Halloween. Definitely top 3. I still think the best is the Haunted House, but this is easily number 2. YEF 200, animation, sound box, LED flickering lights, and it's 3 different characters as well. I love this design. As you can see, the ghost in the middle, he turns left to right. He's got creepy cloth hanging from his chin, sort of, and his arms. Then the pumpkin guy, he's got green glowing LEDs in his eyes, makes him look super creepy, super cool. Then we got the Grim Reaper here with his scythe and red glowing LED eyes. And the ghost has purple short circuit LEDs, and the tombstones have just normal short circuit LEDs. Like I said in my review, I really wish they put the sound box in front of the inflatable, because as you can see right now, or as you can hear, you can barely hear it. I really wish they put it in the front of it, but you can hear this like from inside my house. That's how loud it is. See, once I go around the back, it's extremely loud, but unfortunately from the front, it's almost you can't really hear it because, one, it's so far back in my display, and two, the fan is a YEF 200 and it's behind that. So, but speaking of the YEF 200, wants to explode. Each of the characters inflate incredible. Oops. Like I said in my review also, I put way too many tethers on this thing. I put 2 on each character. You definitely don't have to do that. It didn't even come with all these tethers. I had to take some from like other inflatables to use on this. But I always go for more tethers. I always go for extra tethers with my inflatables just for more stability, because some days we do get pretty bad winds here. And although these trees do protect most of the inflatables, everything coming from the front really, you know, whips these guys around. So I always try to put extra tethers just to make sure everything will stand up, so I don't have to fix it every day, or it won't, or God forbid it rips. So but yeah, I love this design. Easily the second or third best Halloween inflatable we've gotten this year. I don't know what the other one would be on that top 3 list. I can't think of it right now, but this one is awesome. So yeah. All right, I'm just gonna do a quick walkthrough clip of my haunted house to sort of show you what I was going for and why I put this in the front center of my display. It's because once you walk through, the first thing you see, welcome to Halloween Town. And then I sort of made a big open space right here and had everything else go around you. So I think it came out great. Even though not a lot of people actually walked through the haunted house, I still think the way I wanted it to look, it definitely came out perfect. So, but yeah, so that's it. I do apologize for the length of the video. I know it's gonna be like over half an hour long, because I try to get full in-depth descriptions of each and every inflatable in my displays, just to give you, you know, the most information I can. But the night view is going to be posted as a separate video, because, you know, if I put them together, it would be like almost an hour long. So, you know, if you want to go watch that instead of listening to me ramble on for like 40 minutes about inflatables, you can just go watch that. I'm not going to talk in my night video. I might put music, but I don't know. My display videos last year got copyrighted to shit because of that. So I might not do it, but yeah, so super happy with how this display came out. You know, everything was exactly how I envisioned it. And yes, there are some minor problems, like, you know, like I said, my Homer and all that, but and how he doesn't inflate super good. But a lot of people have stopped and looked at my display. A lot of my neighbors have complimented me on it. And, you know, it's just nice to see, like, for instance, I've had a few people get out and have their little kids go run through the haunted house and everything. It's just nice to see that you can put out decorations and other people will enjoy it, and it can put them in, like, the spirit of the holiday. So, yeah, but anyways, if you want to go watch the night view, that will hopefully be posted shortly after this video. So, yeah, anyways, but that's it. I'm the Inflatable Enthusiast, and I'll see you guys next time. So from now on, after this video, pretty much every review up until my Christmas display will be Christmas inflatables. Because, you know, after Halloween and after Christmas, I don't typically buy inflatables for that holiday until, like, you know, halfway through the next year, because I got to get Easter and then Valentine's Day and all that. But expect more Christmas reviews to be coming up soon, because I'm going to buy some more Christmas inflatables. But yeah, so anyways, that's it. See ya.